Maya loved spending her mornings in the small cafe near the old town square. It was her favorite place to sit quietly, drink coffee, and sketch the scenes around her. The cafe was always busy with people chatting, servers hurrying between tables, and the occasional street musician playing soft tunes outside. She liked the noise. It made her feel alive, yet still gave her space to think. That morning, the air was crisp, and sunlight streamed through the windows, making the wooden floor shine. Maya sat at her usual corner table, her sketchbook open, pencil moving quickly as she captured the image of an elderly man feeding pigeons outside. She was so focused that she did not notice someone standing beside her table. "Excuse me," a voice said, soft and slightly nervous. "Is this seat taken?" Maya looked up and saw a young man holding a cup of coffee in one hand and a backpack in the other. His clothes looked simple, a little worn, and his shoes had scuff marks. He smiled politely, and there was something in his eyes, a mix of shyness and honesty, that made Maya nod. "No, you can sit here," she said, pushing her sketchbook slightly to the side. He thanked her and sat down, placing his backpack carefully on the floor. "I'm Alex," he said. "Maya," she replied, offering a small smile. For a moment, they just looked at each other, both feeling a little awkward. But then Alex took a sip of his coffee and glanced at her sketchbook. "You draw really well," he said. "Are you an artist?" Maya felt a warm glow at his compliment. "I like to sketch. It helps me think," she said. "I'm not professional or anything. Just something I enjoy." "That's amazing," Alex said. "I wish I could draw like that. I can't even draw a proper tree." He laughed lightly, and it sounded genuine. Maya found herself smiling despite herself. As they talked, Maya learned that Alex was traveling from the United States. He explained that he had been moving from city to city, exploring new places, meeting new people, and learning about different cultures. He had no fixed plans, no big hotel, just a backpack, a few clothes, and his camera. Maya was intrigued. She had never met someone so free-spirited. He spoke with curiosity about everything: the food in the cafe, the buildings in the square, even the pigeons he had seen outside. Alex noticed details that most people ignored. His excitement was infectious, and soon Maya found herself sharing more than usual about her life, her sketches, and her dreams. "I've always wanted to travel like you," Maya admitted. "But I never had the courage to leave everything behind." Alex leaned back, thoughtful. "It's not about leaving everything. It's about discovering who you are when nothing is familiar. Every place teaches you something." Maya nodded. She liked the way he spoke, simple words but deep meaning. She felt comfortable around him, even though they had just met. There was no pressure, no expectations, just a connection that seemed natural. Hours passed quickly. The cafe became crowded with lunchtime customers, the air filled with chatter and the smell of baked bread. Maya almost forgot the time until Alex glanced at his watch. "I should probably get going," he said reluctantly. "But I really enjoyed talking to you. Can we meet again?" Maya hesitated, then nodded. "Yes, I'd like that." He smiled, standing up. "Great. I'll come by tomorrow if that's okay." "Okay," she said, feeling a flutter in her chest. Alex picked up his backpack, and they walked together toward the door. Outside, the streets were alive with the hum of city life. He paused for a moment, looking at her with a thoughtful expression. "Thanks for letting me sit here," he said. "I know I probably seemed a little out of place." Maya laughed softly. You didn't seem out of place at all. Actually. I'm glad you came. He grinned and waved as he walked away, blending into the busy street. Maya watched him go, a strange warmth lingering inside her. There was something about him that was different, honest, kind, and unexpectedly charming. She returned to her table, opened her sketchbook, and began drawing again, but her mind kept drifting back to Alex. Who was he really? She didn't know, and yet she felt a curiosity that was hard to ignore. It was just a simple meeting, she told herself, but somehow it felt like the start of something unusual, something she could not yet understand. As the sun rose higher in the sky, Maya realized that some encounters leave a mark, even if you don't know why. And for the first time in a long while, she felt like something exciting was about to begin. The next morning, Maya arrived at the cafe earlier than usual. She sat at her favorite corner table, her sketchbook open, though her pencil hovered over the paper as her thoughts drifted elsewhere. She wondered if Alex would actually come back, or if yesterday had just been a fleeting moment that she would remember with a mix of curiosity and regret. As she sipped her coffee, she noticed a shadow fall over her table. Looking up, she saw Alex standing there with his worn backpack slung over one shoulder and a shy smile on his face. "Good morning," he said, trying to hide the nervousness in his voice. "I hope I'm not too early." Maya shook her head, smiling. "No, not at all. I'm glad you came." He pulled out a chair and sat across from her. For a moment, neither of them spoke, simply enjoying the quiet hum of the cafe. Then Alex leaned forward, his eyes lighting up. "I brought you something," he said, reaching into his backpack. Maya raised an eyebrow, curious. Alex pulled out a small, hand-carved wooden bird. It was rough around the edges but carefully made. "I saw it at a little market yesterday," he explained. "I thought it might remind you of your sketches." Maya's fingers brushed over the bird. She could feel the care he had put into picking it out. "It's beautiful," she said softly. "Thank you." Alex smiled, and just like that, the conversation started flowing naturally. They talked about simple things at first: the best coffee in the city, the little shops they liked, their favorite books. But slowly, they began sharing stories about themselves. Maya told him about her childhood, how she loved drawing from a young age but had always been shy about showing her art. Alex listened intently, asking questions, genuinely interested. He spoke about his travels, the people he met, and the little moments that made him feel alive. Maya realized how different it was to talk to someone who really listened, without judgment or hurry. Days turned into weeks. Alex would appear at the cafe almost every morning, sometimes with small gifts, sometimes just with his stories. He told her about mountains he had climbed, rivers he had crossed, and sunsets he had watched from faraway lands. Maya shared her sketches, her dreams, and even her quiet fears. They laughed together, sometimes over silly things, sometimes over little misunderstandings. Maya started noticing little things about Alex: the way he tucked his hair behind his ear when he was thinking, the way his eyes sparkled when he talked about something he loved, and the way he always remembered the tiniest details of their conversations. She realized that, for the first time in a long time, she had someone who cared about the small moments as much as the big ones. One afternoon, they took a walk through the nearby park. The sun was warm, and the trees were bright with new leaves. Children ran past, chasing each other, while old men sat on benches feeding pigeons. Alex stopped by a small fountain, tossing a pebble into the water. Do you ever get tired of traveling? Maya asked, watching the ripples spread across the surface. Alex shook his head. No. Every place teaches me something new. But I also like having someone to share it with. You make everything feel more real, Maya. Maya felt a flutter in her chest. She looked down, pretending to examine a flower, though her thoughts were racing. I feel the same way, she said quietly. They continued walking, talking about small dreams, places they wanted to visit someday, books they wanted to read, dishes they wanted to try. There was no pressure, no expectations, only a sense of companionship that felt comfortable and genuine. Yet, despite their closeness, Maya reminded herself that Alex was just a traveler passing through her life. She couldn't imagine what it would be like if he stayed forever. Still, every time he left at the end of the day, she found herself counting the hours until she would see him again. One evening, as the sky turned orange with the setting sun, Alex handed her a small postcard from a distant city he had visited. I thought you might like to add it to your sketchbook, he said. Maya looked at the card, feeling the warmth of his thoughtfulness. You're always bringing little pieces of the world to me, she said, smiling. Alex shrugged, looking slightly embarrassed. I guess I just like seeing you happy. It makes me happy too. Maya felt a lump in her throat. She didn't want to admit it, but she was already beginning to care for him deeply. And yet, she still told herself it was just friendship, a beautiful, comforting friendship. As the days went by, their bond grew stronger. They laughed, shared secrets, and discovered a rhythm together that felt natural. For Maya, Alex had become a part of her mornings, a small but important part of her world. And though she tried not to hope for more, a quiet voice in her heart whispered that maybe, just maybe, this friendship could become something even more extraordinary. The autumn air was crisp, and the leaves had turned golden and red, drifting gently along the quiet streets. Maya walked through the park, her sketchbook clutched under her arm. She had promised herself that today would be just a normal day, sketching, observing, and maybe enjoying a cup of coffee at the cafe. But she knew, deep down, that she was hoping to see Alex. As if he had read her mind, Alex appeared at the park gate, his backpack slung casually over one shoulder. He waved at her, smiling that same warm, shy smile that had made her heart flutter weeks ago. Hey, he said, jogging slightly to catch up. Mind if I join you? Maya shook her head, smiling. Of course not. They strolled through the park, talking about simple things, the cool air, the changing leaves, and the small joys of life. But today felt different. There was a quiet tension, a subtle awareness between them, as if both were sensing something unspoken. They found a bench near a small pond, where the water reflected the fiery colors of the trees. Alex sat down, setting his backpack beside him. Maya joined him, opening her sketchbook. You're always drawing, he said, glancing at her sketches. Do you ever stop to just enjoy the moment? Maya laughed softly. Maybe I just want to remember it exactly as it is. Moments are easy to forget. Alex nodded thoughtfully, watching the pond. I feel the same way about traveling. I want to remember every face, every place, every little detail. For a while, they sat in silence, the only sounds being the soft rustle of leaves and the occasional splash of a fish in the pond. Then Alex shifted slightly, his eyes meeting hers. Maya, he began, his voice quiet, almost hesitant. Can I ask you something? Of course, she said, her heart beginning to beat faster. He took a deep breath, his hands resting on his knees. Do you ever think about us? I mean, not just as friends. Maya's pencil froze mid-sketch. She felt her cheeks heat up. She had felt a change in her feelings for Alex, but she had been trying to convince herself it was just a natural closeness, nothing more. Now, hearing him speak the words aloud, she realized how much she had been hoping for an answer. I don't know, she admitted softly, looking down at her sketchbook. I like being with you. More than I expected. Alex smiled, a mixture of relief and nervousness in his eyes. He leaned closer, just a little, not too much, just enough that she could feel the warmth radiating from him. I like being with you too, Maya. More than I thought I would. I've tried to ignore it, but I can't anymore. Maya's heart raced. She wanted to look away, to pretend she didn't feel the same, but she couldn't. She slowly lifted her gaze and met his eyes. There was honesty there, a gentle vulnerability that made her chest tighten. For the next few moments, neither of them spoke. They just sat together, letting the silence carry the weight of their unspoken emotions. The world around them seemed to fade, the rustling leaves, the distant laughter of children, even the reflection of the pond. Everything became secondary to the connection they shared. Finally, Alex reached out, brushing a strand of hair behind Maya's ear. It was a small gesture, but it sent a shiver down her spine. I don't want to rush anything, he said softly. I just needed you to know how I feel. Maya's fingers trembled slightly as she closed her sketchbook. I'm glad you told me, she whispered. I feel the same way. A smile spread across Alex's face, a mixture of happiness and relief. They both laughed softly, the sound light and easy, breaking the tension that had held them in place. For the first time, Maya allowed herself to imagine what it might be like if Alex stayed longer, if he didn't just pass through her life like a fleeting moment. They walked together as the sun dipped lower in the sky, painting the clouds with streaks of pink and orange. Alex didn't take her hand immediately, but Maya could feel the closeness between them, a gentle warmth that made her heart race. They talked less and walked more, enjoying the simple pleasure of being near each other. By the time they reached the cafe, the street lights were flickering on, casting a soft glow over the cobblestone paths. Alex paused, looking at her with a seriousness that made Maya's heart skip a beat. Tomorrow, he said, I'll be leaving for another city. I don't know how long I'll be gone, but I hope we can see each other again before I leave. Maya nodded, a small smile on her lips. We will, she said, though she didn't know exactly how. As they parted that evening, Maya felt a strange mix of joy and anxiety. The quiet friendship that had grown over weeks had begun to shift into something deeper, something uncertain but undeniably real. She watched him disappear down the street, the cool night air swirling around her, and for the first time, she felt a thrill of hope, a hope that maybe, just maybe, this traveler who had entered her life so unexpectedly could stay, and their story was only beginning. The next morning, Maya woke to the soft sunlight spilling across her room. Her thoughts immediately turned to Alex. Today was the day he would leave for another city. The thought of saying goodbye made her stomach twist in a mix of sadness and worry. She tried to push the feeling aside, reminding herself that their friendship and the new feelings between them was precious, even if temporary. At the cafe, Alex was already waiting. He sat at their usual corner table, sipping a cup of coffee and glancing around nervously, as if rehearsing what he wanted to say. When he saw Maya enter, his face lit up with a warm, welcoming smile. Good morning, he said softly. "Morning," Maya replied, her voice quieter than usual. She felt an unexpected lump in her throat. They sat in comfortable silence for a few moments, watching the early morning bustle outside. Street vendors arranged their stalls, children chased each other down the cobblestone streets, and the smell of freshly baked bread drifted from the cafe kitchen. Everything seemed normal, yet the weight of the upcoming farewell hung heavily between them. Finally, Alex spoke. "I wanted to spend a little more time with you before I leave," he said, his tone gentle but serious. "I know we've only known each other for a few weeks, but these weeks have meant a lot to me, Maya." Maya's heart swelled. She wanted to tell him the same thing but struggled to find words. Instead, she nodded and gave him a small smile. After finishing their coffee, they walked slowly through the streets, talking about small things to distract themselves from the inevitable goodbye. They stopped at the park, where they had spent so many afternoons together. Alex picked up a fallen leaf, twirling it between his fingers. "Do you ever wish we could freeze time?" he asked quietly. "Just stop everything for a little while, so we don't have to say goodbye." Maya looked at him, feeling the ache in her chest. "All the time," she admitted. "I wish you didn't have to leave." Alex smiled, but it didn't reach his eyes. "Me too," he said. He reached out and took her hand gently. "But sometimes, goodbyes don't mean the end. They just remind us what's important." Maya felt her fingers tighten around his. "I don't want this to be the end," she whispered. He looked down, then back at her, his gaze soft and honest. "It won't be. I promise. We'll meet again, Maya. I just don't know when yet." The words comforted her, but the reality still pressed heavily. They continued walking, sharing small laughs, pointing out the funny things they noticed, trying to fill the hours with memories they could hold onto. Eventually, it was time to go. Alex picked up his backpack, and they walked to the taxi waiting outside the cafe. He turned to her, and for a long moment, neither spoke. The world seemed to pause around them, the honking of cars, the chatter of people, even the breeze felt quieter. "I'll miss you," Maya said finally, her voice trembling slightly. "I'll miss you too," Alex replied, his eyes glistening just a little. He reached out and brushed a strand of hair behind her ear, a tender gesture that made her heart flutter. They hugged, a long, lingering embrace that carried all the emotions they had been holding in for weeks. Maya rested her head on his shoulder, feeling the warmth of his presence, knowing she would have to let go soon. When they finally pulled apart, Alex smiled reassuringly. "This isn't goodbye forever," he said. "It's just, see you later." Maya nodded, trying to smile through the lump in her throat. "See you later," she repeated, though it sounded far too final. The taxi driver called to Alex, and he picked up his backpack, giving her one last look full of affection and promise. He climbed into the taxi, waving once before the car slowly drove away. Maya watched until the vehicle disappeared from sight, her heart heavy yet strangely full. She walked back to the cafe, feeling a mix of sadness and hope. Alex's presence had changed her days in ways she hadn't realized. She felt lighter, happier, and more alive, even as she missed him fiercely. Sitting at her corner table, she opened her sketchbook. Her pencil moved across the page almost automatically, drawing the memories of the mornings they had shared, the way he smiled, the way his eyes sparkled when he talked about his travels, and the small, quiet moments they had stolen together. Maya realized that even though Alex was leaving, the feelings they shared were real. She understood that sometimes, even brief encounters could leave a lasting mark on a person's heart. And as she sketched, she silently promised herself that she would wait for him, that their story was not over. The city moved on around her, people going about their daily lives, unaware of the small but powerful story unfolding in the corner of the cafe. Maya looked out the window at the bustling streets, feeling a quiet determination. No matter how far Alex traveled, she knew that when he returned, they would continue the journey they had begun together, one filled with laughter, understanding, and maybe even love. For now, she would treasure the memories, hold on to the hope, and wait for the day when the traveler who had become a part of her life would come back to her side. Days passed slowly for Maya after Alex left. Each morning, she went to the cafe, sketchbook in hand, hoping that somehow, he might appear. But the streets remained the same, busy, noisy, and full of strangers. The small weight of his absence pressed on her heart more than she had expected. She realized just how much his presence had brightened her days. One evening, as the sun dipped below the city skyline, painting the streets in shades of orange and pink, Maya received a message on her phone. Her eyes widened as she read it. "Wait for me tomorrow. I have something important to show you." The message was from Alex. Her heart raced. She hadn't expected to hear from him so soon, and a mix of excitement and nervousness filled her. Who knew what he meant by something important? Her mind raced with possibilities, some hopeful, some anxious. The next morning, she arrived at the cafe earlier than usual, the autumn air crisp around her. She scanned the street, her heart beating faster with each passing moment. Then she saw it, a sleek, black limousine parked in front of the cafe. Her eyes widened in shock. This was not the Alex she had known, the simple traveler with a worn backpack and tired shoes. The door of the limousine opened, and Alex stepped out. He was dressed in a neatly tailored suit, looking confident yet still familiar. He smiled at her, and for a moment, Maya felt as if time had stopped. The boy who had sat with her in the cafe, laughing and sharing stories, had transformed into someone else entirely, yet the warmth in his eyes remained the same. "Maya," he called softly, walking toward her. "I hope I didn't surprise you too much." You're different," Maya stammered, still trying to process the sight of him in the limousine. Alex laughed lightly, a sound that melted her nerves. "I guess I am. But some things never change." He gestured toward the cafe, inviting her to walk with him. "I wanted to see you here, to explain everything." They found a quiet corner at the cafe terrace. Alex ordered 2 cups of coffee, and then, finally, he began to speak. "Maya, I know this might be shocking. When you met me, I was just a traveler, a backpacker passing through. I didn't tell you the full truth because I wanted to be myself around you, without anything getting in the way. I didn't want money or appearances to matter, just honesty, and our connection." Maya listened, her heart racing. She had suspected that something had been hidden, but she hadn't imagined this. "I come from a family that has resources," Alex continued carefully. "I could have lived a very different life, but I chose to travel, to experience the world in my own way. When I met you, I realized that what I wanted most was someone who knew me for who I am, not for what I have." Maya's hands trembled slightly as she held her coffee cup. She realized that the Alex she had fallen for, the kind, thoughtful, free-spirited traveler, was still the same person at heart. The suit and the limousine didn't change him, they only added a layer of surprise to the truth he had been holding back. "I had to come back," Alex said, his voice quiet but firm. "I couldn't leave without telling you how I feel." "Maya, I care about you more than I ever imagined I could care about anyone. I wanted to show you that it doesn't matter where I come from, or what I have. What matters is you, and how I feel about you." Maya's eyes filled with tears, not of sadness, but of overwhelming emotion. She felt a mixture of disbelief, joy, and relief. The boy she thought she knew had returned as the man she had quietly hoped for, still the same Alex she had laughed and walked with, yet more certain and honest than ever. I don't know what to say," she whispered, her voice trembling. "I never expected this." Alex reached across the table, taking her hand in his. "You don't have to say anything right now," he said softly. "I just wanted you to know the truth. I wanted you to see me as I truly am, not just as a passing traveler." Maya's heart raced. She realized that everything she had felt, the laughter, the quiet moments, the connection, was real. And now, the mystery of his return made her feel something even stronger, a sense of hope and possibility she hadn't allowed herself to feel before. They sat there, hands intertwined, watching the city wake around them. The hum of the streets, the soft chatter of the cafe, the golden sunlight reflecting off the buildings, it all felt different, brighter, as if the world itself was celebrating this moment. For the first time since he had left, Maya truly believed that their story was only beginning. And as she looked into Alex's eyes, she knew that no matter what came next, they would face it together. The sun was beginning to set, painting the sky in shades of gold and pink. Maya and Alex sat at their favorite corner of the cafe terrace, their hands gently touching across the table. The air between them was warm, full of words unspoken but deeply understood. For the first time since their meeting, Maya could feel the full weight of the emotions she had been holding back. Alex looked at her, his eyes soft and serious. "Maya, I need to tell you everything," he said quietly. "I didn't want to overwhelm you before, but I realize you deserve the truth." Maya nodded, her heart racing. She had already sensed that Alex had been holding something back, and now, seeing him in the suit and arriving in the limousine, she was ready to hear it. "When I first came here," he began, "I didn't tell you about my family, about the life I come from. I wanted you to see me for who I am, not what I have. I wanted our friendship and everything else that might come after to be real." Maya's fingers tightened around his hand. "I've always felt that you were honest with me," she said softly. "And that's why I trusted you." Alex smiled, relief and affection shining in his eyes. "Thank you, Maya. That means more than I can say. The truth is, I've been traveling, yes, but I've always known where I wanted to be. I just needed to be sure that I could be honest with myself and with you before I admitted it." Maya's eyes widened slightly. "With me," she whispered. "Yes," Alex said, his voice steady but gentle. "I care about you more than I've ever cared about anyone. And I realized that I couldn't leave without telling you how I feel. I don't want this to be a fleeting moment. I want you to know that no matter where I go, or what I do, you are the most important part of my life right now." Maya felt tears welling up in her eyes. She had felt the connection between them growing, but hearing him say these words aloud made her heart overflow with emotion. I feel the same way," she whispered, her voice shaking. "I was afraid that you would leave again, and I wouldn't see you for a long time." Alex reached across the table, gently brushing a strand of hair from her face. "I understand, Maya. That's why I came back. I couldn't leave without showing you the truth. I wanted you to see me, not as a traveler, but as someone who cares for you, who wants to be with you." Maya took a deep breath, her hands still holding his. "I never expected this," she admitted. "I thought you were just passing through, just another traveler. But now I see that you're here for me. You really care." Alex's smile grew warmer, full of tenderness. "I do. And I'll keep caring, every day. I promise." They sat quietly for a few moments, letting the words sink in. The city around them continued its busy rhythm, but for Maya and Alex, time seemed to slow. Every laugh they had shared, every quiet moment in the park, every sketch she had drawn while thinking of him, it all felt more meaningful now. "I can't believe this is real," Maya said softly, her voice barely above a whisper. "I didn't think someone like you, someone so kind and thoughtful, could feel the same for me." Alex squeezed her hand gently. "I am real, Maya. And so are my feelings. I just wanted to make sure I could be honest, without anything hiding between us. That's why I returned today. I wanted you to see me as I truly am and to know that I'm serious about us." Maya's heart swelled. She felt a mix of joy, relief, and love all at once. She realized that the weeks they had spent together, the friendship that had grown into something more, had led to this moment, the truth revealed, the feelings acknowledged, and the possibility of a shared future. For the first time, she allowed herself to imagine what it would be like if Alex stayed, if they continued this journey together. She saw the mornings filled with laughter, the afternoons walking in the park, the quiet evenings at the cafe, sharing their thoughts and dreams. She felt a warmth spread through her chest, a sense of hope that she had not felt before. Alex looked at her, his eyes full of understanding. "Maya, I don't want to rush anything," he said softly. "I just wanted you to know the truth. I want to take each day as it comes, together. Are you willing to try that with me?" Maya nodded, tears slipping down her cheeks. "Yes, Alex. I'm willing. I want to be with you." He smiled, relief and happiness radiating from him. "Then we'll take it one step at a time," he said gently. Together. They sat there, hands clasped, hearts connected, watching the sunset over the city. The soft glow of the sky reflected the warmth in their hearts. Maya realized that life could surprise her in the most beautiful ways, that someone who had seemed like a simple traveler could turn out to be the person she had been waiting for all along. As the evening settled into night, the world around them continued its rhythm, but Maya and Alex felt a quiet magic in the air. The truth had been revealed, the feelings acknowledged, and a new chapter had begun, a chapter filled with hope, honesty, and the promise of love that was no longer hidden. The morning sun spilled softly across the city, casting golden light on the streets and the cafe where Maya and Alex had first met. Today felt different. The air seemed warmer, filled with quiet anticipation. For the first time in weeks, Maya felt a sense of calm happiness. Alex was still here, beside her, and the uncertainty that had weighed on her heart was replaced by hope. They walked through the streets together, the city buzzing with life around them. Street vendors called out their daily greetings, children ran past chasing balls, and the scent of fresh bread filled the air. Maya felt a thrill she hadn't known before, the joy of seeing the world through Alex's eyes, and the comfort of sharing it with someone who truly understood her. "Do you remember the first time we met here?" Alex asked, glancing at her with a playful smile. Maya laughed softly. "How could I forget? You were carrying a backpack bigger than you, juggling coffee, and almost tripped over your own feet." Alex chuckled, shaking his head. "I was nervous. I didn't know what to expect. But I'm glad I did it." "Me too," Maya said, smiling warmly. You changed my mornings, my days, even my sketches. They stopped at the small park where they had spent countless afternoons together. The leaves were turning golden and red, floating gently to the ground. Alex reached for her hand, intertwining his fingers with hers. Maya, he said softly, I know the past few weeks have been a whirlwind. I came as a traveler, but I realized quickly that my journey led me to you. I don't want to leave again without being honest about what I feel. Maya felt her heart skip a beat. You've already been honest, Alex, she said. I know now how much you care. And I care too. More than I expected. Alex smiled, relief and joy lighting up his face. Then let's start a new chapter, together, he said, gently squeezing her hand. They spent the afternoon walking slowly through the city, talking about dreams, hopes, and little plans for the future. Maya felt a sense of peace she hadn't known before. She realized that life could be unpredictable, but the right person could make every uncertainty feel exciting instead of scary. As the sun began to set, they found themselves at the edge of a quiet fountain in the park. The golden light reflected off the water, shimmering like tiny stars. Alex turned to her, his expression serious but tender. Maya, I know life can be complicated. But I want to promise you something, he said, taking both her hands in his. No matter what happens, I will be honest with you, and I will always be here for you. I want to make memories with you, laugh with you, and face whatever comes our way together. Tears welled up in Maya's eyes, not from sadness but from overwhelming emotion. She felt seen, understood, and loved in a way she had never experienced before. Alex, she whispered, I feel the same. I want to be with you. I want to face everything together. He smiled, and in that moment, the world around them seemed to glow. Their hands stayed joined, fingers intertwined, hearts beating in quiet harmony. Maya felt a deep sense of joy, a joy that came from knowing that love, honesty, and connection could be found even when it seemed impossible. As the evening lights began to twinkle across the city, Alex and Maya walked back toward the cafe, side by side. Each step felt like the beginning of something extraordinary. They laughed over small jokes, shared thoughts about their favorite memories, and imagined adventures yet to come. When they reached the cafe, Alex stopped and looked at her, eyes shining with warmth. I never want to take you for granted, he said. You've brought so much light into my life. And now, I want us to make sure we never lose this, no matter where life takes us. Maya nodded, feeling her heart swell. I'll hold on to this too, she said softly. And I'll hold on to you. They embraced, a long, gentle hug that spoke louder than any words could. It was a promise, a connection, and the start of a journey they would take together. The city buzzed around them, but for Maya and Alex, the moment felt timeless. That night, as they walked home under the soft glow of streetlights, Maya realized that life had a way of surprising her in the most beautiful ways. The traveler she had thought was just passing through had become her companion, her confidant, and perhaps even her heart's home. Alex and Maya knew the road ahead would have challenges, uncertainties, and surprises. But they also knew that as long as they faced it together, every step would be brighter, every moment richer, and every day filled with love, laughter, and hope. And so, their story continued not as a fleeting encounter, not as a temporary friendship, but as a journey of two hearts finding each other, learning from each other, and discovering that sometimes, the most unexpected meetings can lead to the most extraordinary beginnings.